soon as I can find my mic button, we are back. Final Fantasy Randomizer to the next leg of our overnight relay in support of the Liam Foundation. We're a little ahead of schedule, but everyone's ripped up, ready, raring to go. I'm going to pass it on to Fitz here to get us started.
Thank you very much. Yep, it's me again. We're still broadcasting live from the hotel lobby of FF1, our summer marathon. Having a great time. There's still some cards going down, so we're living it up on Saturday night, Sunday morning, whatever day it is. I'm gonna go ahead and kick off our runners. Get them going, and yeah, I should probably introduce what are we doing. So we're gonna play the randomizer for Chrono Trigger called Jets of Time. We are
Oops. I have to reset.
What flags are we running? This is based on kind of like our League flag set called the Millennial Pre. We've added a couple of things on top of there. So magic is going to be unlocked from the beginning. Normally, we have to get access to the end of time and do the fun Specchio run around, but they'll have that unlocked from the beginning. The other couple of things, we do have Boss Rando on, so our bosses are going to be shuffled around. They will have the hit points of whatever spot they end up in, as well as relatively those stats are scaled based on the spot.
It's no game audio. I'm stupid. Sorry.
We also have the gear rando going on as well, so gear will get shuffled with an effect. We'll see pluses and minuses. The higher the number, the better stats or bonus effects that will roll onto the item. Since this is the FF1 Rando Marathon, probably pretty familiar to anyone that plays that Rando. Kind of very similar in how it works. I think a little bit of the nuance is like the more power, the higher tier item it is, the more powerful effects it can roll. And so, like, for example,
a +1 or a bonus one when you have a basic starter weapon doesn't mean as much as it does on a in-game weapon, is what you're saying.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Great way of putting it. And so, like, yeah, versus like a rainbow, Chrono's ultimate sword can roll like the Doom effect, or a high tier accessory can roll the prism specs or haste on it. But really at the beginning, we're going to see our runners going around. There's a couple of checks that we don't have to fight anything to get. We're seeing the snail stop check we can buy for half of our starting gold. Additionally, there is the carpenter check. We got to go talk to him. Go talk to his wife and get the tools. I see the Dreamstone was our key item there. In the beginning of Jets of Time, we start off with access to 1000 AD and 600 AD, and we have a handful of checks or dungeons that we can do there. There's also a couple of characters that are available to us. We only start with the two. The texts they learn, the order that they learn them in, are shuffled around. Okay, the Prism Shard is our other item. We need to have Marl in order to turn that in, so that's probably why we're seeing none of our runners buying that for right now.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt real quick because I forgot this at the start. We do have a $25 donation that came in during setup from Scarcerer, who says, put this towards not saving Sid in the FF6 Worlds Collide race, technically later today. Not during the relay, but during the a different run later today on Sunday. In the words of my de facto mentor, not Sid. Sid sucks. Hi, 11.
Thank you very much, Scarcer. Yeah, there's some good upcoming incentives, so for those watching, check those out. Um, I have a personal, preference towards saving Fritz. They are my ancestor from 1000 AD, so overall, uh, for the timeline to remain strong, we gotta save them.
Don't want to have any issues.
If I suddenly disappear,
Then we're all in trouble because I don't really know Jets of Time at all. So I do not want to try to solo com this. Don't make him disappear, chat.
Yeah, it's as long as enough people overall are saving Fritz, we'll be fine. But so yeah, in terms of like what is progression, kind of how does this sort of randomizer work? It's key item driven. So we got to find those key items to unlock. Other times, like the gate key and the pendant, both unlock the future and the past. Additionally, we have 3 different ways to beat the game. So our 3 sort of go modes are going to be number 1. If we have Frog, which we see already, plus the sword pieces, we can go forge that sword, go through Magus Castle, and then get access to Ocean Palace, where we beat Lavos, and that's go mode number 1. Number 2 involves future access, so we need the pendant, the clone, and the chrono trigger. That'll take us up Death Peak and through Black Omen to beat Zeal and get the win. Number 3 is we need the gate key, the Dreamstone, which we have already seen, and the Ruby Knife. That lets us go to prehistory, and we have to go through the Tyranno lair. That'll get us access to that Ocean Palace, and again, another Lavos fight. So we actually have 2 different endgame bosses and 3 ways to get to those endgame bosses. And in an array setting, it makes that very interesting because we'll probably see some divergence, and we might see all 3 different go modes
that's always
relay race.
That's always been an interesting thing watching the Jets of Time, is that it does have those different ways to win that are all equally valid at the same time, where you're just sitting over here going, okay, here you have that route divergence, but it doesn't mean someone's behind. They just might have to pivot towards a different ending than they were originally going for, which is just really, really cool.
Indeed. And we see Ayla up in the frog spot in the cathedral. Ayla's very good. They pair well with everyone. They don't really need a weapon. They just need levels to do stuff. They pair pretty well with Frog in terms of like double techs. In Jets of Time, we're usually looking for some sort of way to clear the screen of kind of these mobs of enemies, which, having early water too, the desert enemies are weak to water, and Phone coming here pretty quickly to get a big pile of experience and tech points that'll set them up nicely for the rest of the run. Additionally, because magic is unlocked, we don't have to worry about like capping out and wasting tech points because we can't learn any more techs. So the desert is really kind of like our most powerful grind that we can do without having access to any of the other time zones. And like most RPG randomizers, acquiring power quickly is kind of reliably the way to go fastest. Certainly, like picking the fastest path with the least amount of checks helps, but that's random. So I think Phone usually likes to go here pretty early to get enough power to really get through any opening checks relatively quickly. And then our other 2 runners are on the same path. It looks like Savon Jester going to the back of the cathedral to get an additional character. It's a little bit of a time investment because we have to go to the back. We gotta fight the boss back there, and then we can claim a character from where we would normally regain Marl in the vanilla game. SVJ is not a big fan of Robo, so I'm not surprised that they're going to the back, because it's like, nah, I don't want him.
Give me something else. I am, by the way, going to jump in and put chat on notice, and you as well, technically. I've got a chunk of storms firing up overnight here. They do not appear severe or anything, but there is always the chance of, you know, stray lightning bolt deciding to ruin my evening and etc. So, if something happens, I will be on my phone to let everyone know what ETA we can expect, etc. But hopefully, knock on every piece of wood in my office, nothing will happen. I don't expect it to, but we've all been warned.
For sure. See a little divergence immediately. Felis O'Ray going up Dinadoro, which is one of our opening checks. The boss up there is probably one of our harder bosses that we can go tangle with early on, but we have some decent early tech, so they might be feeling like, hey, I got enough. Let's go try this out. It's I think it's a little bit of like a gamble spot, because there could be a boss up there that just kind of walls us, but you know, it might be like a gate key that the other runners won't find until later on. So I like the play.
And if you're comfy with the characters you've got, then sometimes you can push through a wall a little bit easier than, you know, someone who, for example, doesn't like Robo.
Yeah, I mean, speed is very important in Chrono Trigger and Jets of Time in particular. We want to be faster than our enemies, so we get turns first. I mentioned we usually want someone that can, a sweeper, someone that has like the AoE damage that can clear a mob in one attack. We generally want that person to be faster than the enemies. Additionally, as we're seeing like on Philo's side, we can run from pretty much every encounter in Jets of Time. A lot of the encounters are skippable, and I'll try to, like that one right there, I'll try to point out when our runners are kind of doing particular movement that helps them avoid it. So like on this screen, we just need to have clean movement, and if we're fast enough, we can avoid that encounter as well as an additional one. It's kind of like if we beat the bird, then there's no fights here. The screen is free. Saw a Mega Mutant in the back of the cathedral. Mutants are not fun, but we'd rather tangle with them early. There's a couple of encounters that Philo has skipped by just moving correctly in this screen. This is the biggest one. There's like 5 fights on this screen, and if we just go up a little bit before we go left, we get to skip them all. This next one, they're using the ramp to do some diagonal movement, and actually, I like this. This chest over here is higher tier, because it's like a little bit of a secret chest, and loot is tiered in Jets of Time. Phone down here in the desert, this is one of the higher tier places that we can find loot. Making the desert another, even if we don't have Robo, we can still come in here, fight the boss, get all of the loot. We just can't talk to Fiona to replant the forest and get the reward. So I'm gonna take this fight, see what's up. With the levels they've gotten, Yakker's a little nasty, but mostly because of this. They like to inflict chaos on our party. It's not, luckily, as dangerous as Muddle is in many other games, where they won't use their abilities, and they kind of rarely hit party members. Magus is a nice find.
Yeah.
We're going to the bridge. We can preview that reward ahead of time. Well, maybe we're setting up the bridge. Mountains are nice. Oh yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, unfortunately, Robo doesn't have a very high hit rate, so we're seeing them missing a lot of their punches. Oh, a little charm too.
Did I just see Ray dodge an encounter by getting hit by a rock?
Oh yeah, that one is like a timing one, but part of it is getting hit with the right time, and then running up on that ladder when the bird is higher up.
Okay, I hadn't seen that before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like 2 back-to-back fights that if we get knocked out by the bird, which we can run from them, but yeah, showing off nice to get into this mass immune fight. The first part of this we have to actually do normally, and then when they merge together, that's when we'll see what random boss we're going to be running into. SVJ heading to the desert as well. Magus has very powerful magic. It takes more tech points to get their first couple of techs online, so a desert or Hecarim Cave also has tech points, but just less experience, so definitely makes sense to come here to get our Magus online. If they get like an early dark matter, that would be huge to help us carry. Magus comes with a free amulet too, which is protect all status, and that's always nice as well. Looking at our tabs, the tabs can roll between 2 to 4 for power. Speed tabs are always +1 because speed is very important.
You don't want to get too powerful.
And then the magic tabs roll between 1 and 3. So +2 is on like the lower ends. I see a question from chat. There is healing item Rando where healing items roll within like a range. I don't think I turned that one on, but we're gonna find out on phone screen if this ether goes through or not. Ethers normally restore 10. Okay, I didn't think I turned that one. But with the rando, they can roll between I think 5 and 15, and so yeah, when they low roll and that flag is on,
it can make Dragon Tank.
Dragon Tank is not the worst thing that we could see here. And they have heal. They have access to AoE heals. That's another great Robo brings, although Frog also has that. Frog and Robo kind of occupy the same role as being like, they have party heals. They are pretty strong physical characters, but they have some magic utility. Frog is a little bit better at magic. And it's a little bit faster, because Robo has like 9 speed, and the magic number we want for like end game, at least our screen clear character is 13 speed, so it's pretty hard to get Robo up there without some item, or his ribbon is one of the key items that's out there instead of like the Atropos quest reward. And that increases his speed a little bit as well. Phone has gotten through that desert fight. Another huge pile of experience for beating that boss. Space triangles, it seems like that means Magus has dark matter, and I must have missed it. Chat is excited about the triangle. Phone will be turning in. Desert check. Talk to Fiona. Go to the future. Now there's a forest. There's also a shop in Fiona's chapel that is a fairly good shop for where we are in the game. And it will be guaranteed to have those lapises, which we're not super interested in with a Frog and a Robo, but they're always good to know where those are. They heal 200 hit points to full party, so pretty good. Dorito. There is an element randomizer flag, and I think dark matter will change colors based on its element. So
And that
if it's
was
fire,
pendant.
it probably is going to be like nacho cheese Dorito, for instance.
I was gonna say we did just pick up pendant on phone side from the chapel.
I mean, so we can see like Phone is at level. Phone cleared the desert, and they're level 17 now. We're usually shooting for like level 30 for our end game levels, and so they won't really have to try too hard to achieve those levels, and won't have trouble getting through most of the checks left in the game. But with the pendant, they can turn that in, complete the trial. Phone knows that I'm commentating, so they'll probably save Fritz just because. I tend to have that effect.
That's awfully good.
At least when it's a race for fun, and for charity, and not for tournaments or whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, we'll complete this trial, fight the dragon tank spot, and then that'll get us access to the future, which has 3 checks for us. It will also charge up the pendant by completing this, and that'll allow Phone to open any sealed chests or sealed doors that they might come across. And those will have nice like mid to mid high tier items inside. See, SVJ turned in their bromide. We get 1 of each tab for that, which is great, especially the speed tabs.
Never enough speed tabs.
And we can see this dragon tank fight going on a little bit long. The water magic is helping. It's also just like a lower power level. I think the head is finally. They're just dealing with the 2. And I think Philo will be able to get through this ultimately. Assuming that, yeah, they have plenty of ethers. We always got to do our grocery shopping at the beginning of Jets of Time to get some ethers, some shelters, some potions, or tonics. They're tonics. Mixing up my game. Because those will really help us, especially in early fights where our power isn't that good, where we get into these kind of longer, taking like 10 or 15 turns to get through the fight. It's partly like this spot is like a 3,000 hit point spot.
Right.
Those are going to get split amongst the parts of Dragon Tank, but with like an Uzi punch is only doing like 250.
Am I still here? All of my lights just flickered off, but my computer stayed on.
All right.
Chat, I'm getting spooked.
Yeah, I didn't lose the screen share, but
okay.
I know I'm not watching the actual stream.
OBS thinks it didn't. I do not have a battery backup. Unfortunately, we just got lucky on where my power roll went. Well, Colossal Ray's finally through.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough fight to get through, and I think they played that very well. I'm in that Worlds Collide race where we're saving or don't save Sid. So what do I want to happen? I felt one of those was like, it's pretty close, so we'll see what happens and then go from there. Oh, it looks like a Wonder Mune. So that's not necessarily, that's not progression for us, at least not in this mode.
Own has abandoned you? No, there he is.
Nope, rescued. Thank goodness. All right, SVJ definitely is gonna probably abandon me, but or my ancestor. I descend from the son of a merchant in 1000 AD. But anyway, uh, a Wonder Mune. So that's Frog's ultimate weapon. It's taking the place of the like upgraded Mass Immune. The gear Rando has rolled the Wonder Shot effect onto it, so it's gonna do
Oh, that's
a
what that means.
random damage range. So we're gonna see some big numbers, and we're gonna see some small numbers, and that effect will take. It works on the techs that use his weapon, so like Slurp Cut and Leap Slash, as well as like the Drop Kick, Triple Tech, or any techs that use those will also roll with that wild range. So we'll see even big numbers on a Leap Slash if it rolls high on the base attack. I love the Wonder Weapons. You know, I don't love relying on them as my only source of offense, but it's something like where if we found like a haste accessory for they can probably just carry by themselves as long as it's not a physical immune boss situation. SVJ is in the Metal Gear Chrono Trigger part of the Breakout. Look at this. This looks like he's gonna save Fritz. And then in the interview after, it'll be like, well, I knew you were watching, so. Philo heading for Hecarim Cave, which this is the first Hecarim we've seen.
He's looking at you. He's looking at him from all angles and is leaving.
Oh, wow.
What a dick.
Come on. Yeah, that's just taunting me.
And he comes back. Okay. Putting on the show. Well played. Well played.
But yeah, Hecarim Cave is one of our early opening ones. We do kind of tend to want some sort of full screen magic because there's a couple of enemies that just resist physical attacks. We've had that water too from the beginning, but it's certainly possible because we know in our opening checks something has to lead to access to either the future or the past. We know that the pendant was at the Robo check, but there could be a gate key at the end of this Hecarim Cave that might send Philosopher in a different direction. And we already have the Dreamstone, versus we're still looking for 2 more pieces of the pendant Gobo. And we have our old friend Russ Tyranno Garden, the prison. So they will have Russ Tyranno is a little bit of a weird one. They get more hit points than a normal boss, but I still think we're in the they got about 4,000 hit points, and these bubble hits are doing like 700 damage. They're kind of just a damage race. They do the countdown.
Right.
They do 1 AoE attack that's pretty bad, and then the second time it's even worse. But I think Phone and SVJ will be able to get through here fairly easily. Crush the head.
Body slam. Well, a quick reminder, chat. This is a marathon, not just for fun and giggles, and for ruining my sleep schedule, but it is a charity marathon in support of the Liam Foundation. we are taking donations for their work supporting the LGBTQIA community in Illinois and other areas. Just through the link down in chat. So, got a moment. There are some incentives coming up in the morning. I believe Golden Sun's the first one up. That has completely open character name bid wars. Soul Blazer has character name bid wars. They still have Race the Snails is 25 out of 80 bucks. After that is the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and Worlds Collide Archipelago run that has 0 out of 80 for suplexing the train, which is a crime. Then there's 0 out of 80 for saving Norma, 25 out of 80 for fighting all the dragons, and a naming Ben bid war that is currently $10 at Sid Sucks. So, got an itch to make a donation towards a good cause? We've got some incentives you can throw that towards. Back to you, Sid.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us while we're here and pointing out some of those incentives. I think I missed what Philo got from the Hecarim check, but bent sword, okay. Well, that's another edge. Okay, that's very good actually, because they got 2 pieces of that go mode now. So if they find themselves the other sword piece, which we've seen a lot of the stuff so far, it's out there. They might have to go to another time to get it. It depends. Has anyone looked at the bridge yet? That's our other kind of check they're going with. So we're seeing some of our runners going like deeper into the logic, and Philoso Ray is really kind of clearing out that opening sphere first. Now they haven't found access to they don't have the pendant, so maybe if they had the pendant they would be going deeper. But we're seeing here, yeah, we gotta pop in these sealed doors in the future. A blue mail +3, pretty great. Rainbow helm, ruby armor. That's some good gear. Some in-game stuff that will keep our people standing a little bit longer. I felt a little extra looting here. Getting rewarded. Another mail. Also showing off. A little vanilla skips here. What they're attempting to do is get because if the rat steals from us and that text box is up still, for whatever reason it disables encounters from working.
Oh.
And so we can use that to evade a bunch of encounters here.
Just run right by him. Coding games is hard work, man.
Especially, coding a game on a system that's
that old.
Chrono Trigger came out pretty late in the Super Nintendo's life, right? And so
yeah,
they were really able to push some stuff. But I know from just conversations with the devs, it also means that there's less room in the code to put in stuff.
Yeah.
Versus an earlier game, an early release has just a lot more memory available. So that's often why we see in randomizers, in addition to going fast, a lot of times cutscenes and dialogue gets removed because we need the memory to put in the randomization stuff or make the flags work, that type of thing. Do we see a new? I see a new in chat, which leads me to believe maybe we saw one phone doing sewer visit here, getting some loot. I knew at Sun Palace. If it was in the boss spot, that means it's Guardian. because the Guardian sprite is too big to fit in all the boss spots, and so they get replaced with a brown new to represent the sprite and the bits, I think. No, the bits are still there as normal. A Lavos spot on the bridge. Not our favorite boss to see sometimes because we need to single target the face. The baby Lavos spawn will do an AoE counter if we hit the shell. There's the Wonder Mune in action. Like,
nice.
1400 on a attack, a magic tap. Was that a Mega Elixir too? There's some good drops on that boss. Yeah, it was a Mega.
It
We'd love to
was.
have the...
Hi, Roland.
I'm gonna go get this character. Yes. Which we know is Magus. It could, with that Prism Shard being available, like finding a Marl back here would definitely like let us go kind of a different way. But with our party, we'd probably grab Magus and maybe swap out a Rolo potentially, but we'll see what kind of decision they make when they get to the back here. SVJ has made it to the bottom of the one dome. We got a Luca in the future.
Hey.
Luca pairing very well with
Science
Ayla.
time.
In addition, Blaze Kick, Fire Whirl. Yeah, this mutant is only damageable by magic, but SVJ having that Magus and also Luca. We haven't seen Luca's text yet, but we're about to see one. And it's Flare. Okay. So we got magic covered. Very good on SVJ's side. And they got a nice single target physical character. Depending on the go mode, we build a little bit differently. Zeal 2, we only want to hit the face, and so we tend to build more for like single target damage. Lavos
Another
don't have
move.
to do that as much. And so I'll be curious to see with our runners and their different parties how they take different approaches to the final boss. It looks like, yeah, Phone's going for this Sun Palace fight. It's one of the toughest spots that's not an end game spot. Trying to think. I want to say Guardian's going to have around 6,000 hit points. Phone taking advantage of the fact that Guardian is immune to fire. Normally, if we hit Guardian, when the bits are still up, they do a counter. But if we hit them with a 0 damage attack, it's not going to happen. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of bubble hits, because that's really the strongest thing that Phone has going on. Ooh, SVJ has found some sunshades in the basement. Those are going to be a just 25% damage boost. A speed belt is also very nice. That's +2 speed. That gets Luca to 10. Which is still 3 away, but 3 is because we can get a couple of speed tabs from our opening round, and then there's a couple more available in like various dungeons. So looking good there, although Magus is pretty fast and only needs like 1 or 2 speed tabs to be able to be our like screen clear person. So we got options. That's often like a thing in Jets of Time, is like, when do we use those tabs? It's usually when we feel like this is the party we're gonna roll with. There are occasions where hoarding them has made it so I couldn't get through a boss. but
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those interesting choices that changes a little bit. We do have a flag, which I think we'll be seeing in the Jets run tomorrow, that it shuffles the MP costs of tech and scales their power accordingly. So like,
Okay.
we could get Flare with 1 MP, and it's not very good.
Does nothing.
And it kind of makes some of the double techs that we abandon when we get stronger ones. Like even this bubble hit, if both component techs rolled 20 MP, it would be, you know, a high tier end game tech. And so with those flags, we often save those tabs even longer because we just don't know who's gonna have the good powerful techs until we get a little bit further.
Right.
This Guardian fight is getting a little bit dicey. Using Aelin Frog for their double text means we don't have access to that frog heal.
No, we got third anyway.
Elixir Mermaid Cap, those are nice. What do we got here? I'm trying to in my head track what the runners
Gate
have.
key.
Okay. So phone has access to every check in the game now. But not necessarily a lot of... Well, the Dreamstone we have already. There are also one item away from a go mode they gotta find. That ruby knife, usually we're gonna see runners start going to the fastest checks they can once we kind of get to that one away. Taking the gate key through here and probably going to the Reptite Lair. Reptite Lair is pretty fast check. Get a little bit of XP, some loot around the way. SVJ heading through Hecarim, where we know they're going to get their sword piece. And Philo gonna finishing off this Yakra fight, and they'll get their pendant. So I would say it's definitely too close to call. I think Phone's ahead, just in levels. That's kind of what I'll use to try to benchmark who's in the lead, so to speak. Because they're kind of just doing checks faster with that extra power. SVJ's not far behind. Philo has done more stuff that potentially some of our other runners are gonna have to like go back and do. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Pretty close so far. Is Phone gonna go do? The hunting ground rewards are also randomized, so they were checking there to see. It's usually not worth the time to do, but if there were like some prism specs or like a haste helm, then they would be going in. Talking to this new twice gets us a rock, which are considered high tier accessories, and so if we see a plus on them. Okay, so there was, but not that great. It just gives us barrier, which is not nothing. Now we're gonna go. We don't know where Marl is, and the Prism Shard was in our opening stuff, and so Phone might be coming here to see if they can grab a Marl. The gate key also gives us access to Mount Woe, which is a pretty high tier endgame dungeon. A lot of good fights, a lot of good loot. It can be long if we're getting all of that stuff along the way. But it's a good way to like get endgame levels, especially if it's something we can go to really early. Like if the gate key was like one of our first key items, I try to go there aggressively soon. There's some skips here. Went off. Like sneak in by that rubble. It's essentially if we hit the ladder on the right pixel, it like moves us horizontally, so we avoid triggering a fight. Using a little pause buffering to get lined up.
Just barely skip the triggers there.
And there is a Marl provoking us. That's like her provoking animation, which is interesting.
That's funny.
There's a mode called duplicate characters, which means we can get like multiple copies, and that causes some like funny stuff to happen. Like for instance, on when you do the Prism Shard trial, at the end of that, like Marl and her dad like embrace, but for like if she's like actually has the sprite of Ayla, and she does her like beer drinking animation and like moonwalks towards the king. So like there's like little funny stuff that we might see some of that, because I think we have a lot of those. I don't want to call them wacky, but
we can call
the
them
run
wacky.
tomorrow showing off like a lot of the like flag diversity overall.
Oh brother.
Just trying to look around, see what we got going on. Philo's doing the trial to go to the future. That checks out. Because they're kind of out of checks. SVJ is going to go get their sword piece. Bone is getting some sealed chests. Silver earring's not bad. And they're also... They need to go talk to the king in 600 to turn in, or to start the Prism Shard quest. Which is we can go peek the item, so I'm curious if they'll go down and look at it, or just take the boss fight. This was a check that used to be a lot longer, because we used to have to go down in the basement, like go check on the rainbow shell, and then go back up and do the trial boss fight. But in a recent update, it got shortened so that we can either still go down in the basement and get a preview of the reward, or you can just go straight to the courtroom and fight that fight. Are we gonna go 3 for 3 on the Fritz saving? It's pretty rare.
Maybe.
SVJ, those sealed chests, they're gonna head up Denadoro, which we know the Wonder Mune, and they have already ditched Frog. So likely a little bit of a disappointing trip. They're higher power level than when we saw Philo go here, so I don't think the Dragon Tank will take them quite as long. Metal Gear Ayla, sneakily bonking those guards, looks like.
Chest one, and
Thought about it. The ingrained habits. I can always tell just who runs in for the chest and leaves. Who's like, oh.
Who bails ASAP?
I need to get the devs to shorten the Fritz saving cutscene as much as possible. And potentially, maybe he should give you an item right away.
Yeah, more incentive to save it.
So we got Hecarim here. Gotta hit him with magic. Ayla is gonna hang out and throw ethers. I wonder if Phone is gonna keep Marl versus we'd have to have her in the party for this check. I would agree with Chad. Virtue should be sufficient. Doing the right thing, saving an innocent merchant. We have all these conversations about like, it's like, oh well, you know,
It does seem to be a highly debated
why is he in
topic.
there? Like, it's like, well, because he looks like Chrono a little bit, and the guards are looking for some red-haired kid that's allegedly kidnapped the prince. Yeah, it's a wrong place, wrong time, wrong look kind of thing going on. Mountains are nice.
Mountains are nice.
Because there actually is a reward for saving Fritz. Like, one, it opens the shop there, and they sell lapises guaranteed. And then if we have Chrono, which we don't, he also gives us 10 mid-ethers. Which can be really nice. Phone, I think, has counted damage, and so, yeah. Even though Hecarim went into counter mode, they needed that one more flare.
That would have been the kill either way.
So we'll see if they will be rewarded for going a little bit out of the way to get that Dactyl character. Hug percent complete.
Nathan. Who plays a randomizer vanilla anymore? I mean, honestly.
The first couple randomizers I had played the vanilla game.
I've played vanilla of almost everything. I think the only one I technically haven't is hilariously FF1. I never got to play vanilla, and I'm very glad of that. Going back and trying it after the randomizer tweaks, I'm like, oh, that's painful.
Rescuing the Chancellor again.
You know what? I'll accept that. Sometimes you do need a break from the rando while you play another rando.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I play so many. That's partly why I find that I learn things in other randos that I can come back to, like a Worlds Collide, and it's like, oh, like I've been playing FF1 lately, so I'm a lot faster at menuing in battle, or like
Yeah.
the Chrono trigger. Okay. So that kind of is what they were looking for. They were probably more looking for the Ruby Knife, which would have been a go mode, but now they have two go modes that they're one
One
piece of.
Do they lead to the same boss or same ending rather?
No, they're for different bosses.
Different bosses. Okay, so one Zeal and another one is a Lavos fight.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if they find the.
See, I was paying some attention.
If they find the clone, they're going to Black Omen. If they find the Ruby Knife, they're going to Tyranno Lair and then Ocean Palace. Chancellor face. I missed the first one, or the second one too. We got one. In the future, we haven't seen Genodome. Although we might about to be seeing Genodome. Yep. Okay. This is another endgame dungeon. It's fairly long. There is the conveyor belt skip, which once mastered makes us a lot faster. Um, it's a pretty involved setup, and the movement on it is. I typically will go for it twice and then give up. Just go the long way because it's not really that much longer. But, a lot of good loot in here. Got this conveyor belt in the front that we can use for like sometimes we get an early go mode where it's like, oh no mode because I don't know how I'm gonna beat the game, and taking a trip or two down the conveyor will be good. Yeah, SVJ gonna get some revenge here. They're definitely more powerful than the last time. Unfortunately, Luca with the fire not gonna do a ton of damage against Guardian, but Guardian is weak to space triangles. One of my like headcanon things is that somehow Magus and Drago are related to each other.
Okay.
Because their like ultimate attack is similar. Like Grand Train and Dark Matter. Although I do feel like Dark Matter does have the extra triangle. Strago from Final Fantasy VI. Yes, Magus is young Strago. Even though I know he's actually in Chrono Cross, it's like a different person. It doesn't canonically make sense, but it's just fun to think about.
We play randomizers. Canon is just a suggestion at best.
Awesome, more Guardian here. I think we just unlocked Tailspin. Tailspin is a very powerful and a gate key. Oh, we knew that. I knew that.
We knew that. Yeah. Whoops.
Because Tailspin is a non-elemental magic attack, and it ignores magic defense.
Oh.
Ayla has low magic, which is normally why that doesn't get a ton of love. But if we had like good magic tabs, because her magic scales so low, it has a very damage multiplier on the formula. Our runners are going too fast, but one of the things about the version that we're running on here is it will show you the damage formula for attack if you hover over it in the battle menu.
And okay.
So
that's handy.
I don't think we'll get a good look at it, but that's how I've learned a lot of the damage formulas. It's just from looking at them through the game. Like we saw like on Tailspin, it was like missing health times 7/8 times like stamina. That's because Frog Splash and Dino Tail have weird formulas, but the multiplier on Tailspin is like 23 times level plus magic. So boosting her magic a few points goes a long way in that attack, and then it combos with Fire Whirl, which does fire damage to the whole screen, and it also ignores magic defense. So ignoring magic defense always good in games for doing big damage numbers. Yeah, phone here. This is where we need to have some speed, because towards the end of the game, enemies will start to outspeed us. We saw those laser guards got a shot off, which is not that dangerous. It's when they start shooting each other and exploding is when... I mean, I've definitely wiped my party to the laser guards before.
Understandable.
Like a team of Robo, Marl, and Luca are gonna have some speed problems. Okay, I think we're setting up here. We're gonna see phone likely get it on the first try. So we got to go get this doll, and then normally we'd have to go like kind of around the back of this dungeon to turn the conveyor belt going the other way. But if we move very cleanly, we can get it without doing it.
Wow, that's cool.
And it's like, if we get caught on any of those walls running around, like diagonally move onto the conveyor belt as much as possible. There's like a lot of little things. If we forget to like open this door that phone opens, because we can get like caught on the door going by, and just the delay of it opening is enough. Phone will always say the conveyor skill is very easy, but they're also
very good at it.
one of the best jets of times. It's kind of like, it's easy to forget how hard things were once you get to a certain level, right? And then they also did some expert robot moving around. Like there's like a spot in that wall that they can just phase through, so we don't have to walk them around the long way. But now, Phone has both of the dolls, and they will head for the boss here.
Use some speed tabs.
Tab available. That's another one of them. Sometimes we route based on those speed tabs alone, just to make sure that we get someone up to a good level. Like Ayla is fast, but she doesn't have an AoE without using Fire Whirl, and so boosting Luca up closer to Ayla's speed. Even that +1, I think, was enough with the speed belt and whatnot. That Phone could Fire Whirl before the laser guards could do anything. Picking up a couple extra tabs. Oh, going for the Dino Tail strats. SVJ heading to Reptile Lair. I don't think we've seen this one yet. This will be a new reward. We're starting to see most of what's out there. So I know there's the Chrono trigger, there's a sword piece, there's the hero medal, Robo Ribbon, the Ruby knife. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of running out.
Phone did the thing.
Phone's always
they
doing the thing.
They have the humans on the conveyor belt, didn't they? I think that's the thing that I would do. That's a little extra thing, or you try to go get him and then you get shocked by lightning, and it's like, no, you gotta go shut down Mother Brain. You get some dueling boss fights here. Guardian being a little rough for Philo. Just their party comp, I think the bits have a lot of hit points too. So it can take some time to get them back down. And they don't have that Luca to be able to just flare them down.
Right.
They do have the Wonder Mune. I would be tempted to just
swing for the fences
and hope for a high roll. They gotta be getting pretty close though with low roll.
It's a flea time on Phone side.
Flea regular is a little bit tough. Yeah, it is flea regular. When they get in the back half of their hit points, they have a chance to counter on every hit, and it's a big hit.
Boy.
I think Phone can survive one, although Luca and Marl are on the lower end of the hit point. The Mother Brain spot isn't. Yeah, here we go. The stair is bad news. Okay, not too bad though. It kind of depends on the spot, but like, because it's a magic attack, I'm pretty sure, and so at the higher magic spots, that can be like a 350 to everyone. All right, Philo's gotten their gate key for Guardian.
Bones through Flea.
And they're gonna get
Hero
the hero
mode.
medal.
Huh.
So that is a little bit of a fetch quest. We can go turn that in for another key item. Frog can also wear it. We buffed it from vanilla, so it gives him the barrier effect, which is reduces magic damage by 1/3. It also gives him, it's either the 25 or 50% damage boost. I'm misremembering in the moment, but I think Frog's already been benched for phone permanently. Looks like they're going with Team Girl power, antipodes, and kicks. We've got a Chrono in the burrow. This character, we have to forge the sword and come back to acquire.
Oh, clone.
The clone.
That's...
The phone has got to go.
Yep.
I think. Because they got an egg already.
I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering what you said earlier correctly, they have everything for that.
And if you're going to the future, I'll trust their action. Ooh, the hilt is at Reptile. So if Philo goes there, they will also, because they did Dinadoro. SVJ also did Dinadoro. They're in go mode.
Simultaneous go modes going on, huh?
Yeah, there is a little bit of difference in the length of the different go modes. This is going to be close. SVJ has to go through Magus Castle, fight Magus, and then go through Ocean Palace, which is pretty short, and do the Lavos fights. Whereas Phone is doing Death Peak, which is not very long, and has a boss up there. And then they run through Black Omen, which is a pretty long dungeon, and there's like 3 or 4 bosses to fight before we get to Zeal. I think Black Omen is a little bit shorter overall, and it's partly because the Magus fight can really vary depending on what elements they want to go into.
Yes, Odoron SVJ does have a Vorpal sword on screen. I regrettably could not crop it out without compromising things, so the Nerf sword is stuck there.
I mean, I've heard it's pretty good.
I am Team Katana. Odoron's gonna slap me now, but I'm Team Katana. Some days I'm also like Team anything but Vorpal.
Yeah, I understand why, because even in my limited use of it, it's like the big variance in damage range we're never the biggest fans of.
I'm the one of the FF1 runners that ends up with 12.5% is supposed to be the official chance of getting backlined, and it's 12.5% for me is my frontline damage. It's more like 50% to hit my back row, and insta kills never work unless Chaos is casting them, and Vorpal never crits. So.
I was just chatting with the next leg just to let them know.
Yeah.
That we're probably like an hour out from I think everyone being everyone being done, the seed was... I did roll it, and usually that means there's some sort of curse or trap waiting inside. Which I guess could still happen. But
well, we're not quite done yet.
yeah, the big barriers for SVJ's route is really a Magus that doesn't want to cooperate and go into like shadow or fire. They also are not running a frog, so they won't be able to knock down his magic defense in the first phase of that fight. But if Magus goes into fire with those like flares, fire whirls, like they'll get through that pretty quickly. Golem boss is an absolute joke boss that cannot hurt us. So I don't think Fun will have a problem there. The Ocean Palace has the twin golems, which can be kind of a wall. Golem, ironically, is one of the harder bosses to have in that spot. So with the boss Rando, there's a pretty good chance that won't happen. But yeah, that spot can be a duplicate of any of those bosses. Like a double flea would be bad. A double Dalton plus would be worse. And well, for the runners, the viewers love Dalton plus showing up, so they'll be hoping for it. And we still have plenty of chances. I do always love the different sprites with boss Rando and pushing them. Because normally this is a shell that you gotta push and climb, but sometimes it's like a slash, or a smaller sprite. You're climbing up Russ Tyranno's head. Get a little bit of a cutscene here.
Man,
Which
I
is one of
am.
those nice where you get like a little breather where we don't have to do any inputs after this for like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
Philo is in the right
stupid
spot.
storm system, folks, keeps back building so that I just have a constant wave of thunder storms coming in. They're not really severe, it's just all the lightning all the time.
Waves. So yes, phone. Summon the Black Omen. We do have to go to a different time in order to get in there. So I imagine they're going to be going to 1,000. If they have enough shelters, revives, then they're just going to go right in. Otherwise, they'll pop in one of those shops where they got those earlier. Seals, usually we don't need as many revives. They're pretty predictable. They kind of operate on a script, and it's more about hitting damage breakpoints fast. Lavos is a lot more out of control in general. And Black Omen, we get a lot of level because it was sort of a jet seed, I would say. They kind of had to go in a lot of different places to get there, but none of them were really buried behind a big chain. Like, we didn't see Toma's pop. Nothing required. Well, maybe something was on Mellow that was needed. I think it's the combination of, we had some good key item placement. Characters had some nice, powerful starting techs.
It hasn't been a terrible seed. Not necessarily a jet seed, but it hasn't been a bad seed.
I think, everyone's just playing pretty well, too, overall.
Yeah. It looked like they've all had good movement and decent menuing, etc., from someone who doesn't know Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of good execution in battle, a lot of hitting the skips pretty consistently across the board. Yeah, I imagine this is where the laser guard get us, but
Excuse me.
we have this R series fight, which is usually not too challenging. As I mentioned, like boss hit points get split for multi-parts, and so those R series have a quarter of a slash amount of hit points, which is not that much.
Also, no, Odoron, you are not expected to play well later. You can play as badly as you want. I'll not complain.
No.
I will be...
No, wait a minute. You are in that race.
I am! Which is why I'm saying that. I'm going to be playing with the handicap. I should get like a 10-minute head start or something. Gonna be bleary-eyed, eyes half open, trying to read text on my screen.
Yeah, I just have to talk about it. Playing it is a little bit more challenging. There's no way I could do both at this hour. Let's see what we got going on here.
Yeah, but I'm starting at the very bottom of the barrel behind even Feanir. So, like, I need the practice to be able to not completely embarrass myself. Yeah, you do need coffee. PRB banning a fellow mod until they give me a picture of them holding coffee.
Yeah, so Philo is heading same go mode as SVJ. So for those two, we'll be able to pace them a little bit against each other. I do think Phone has still got a lead of probably like 5 or 10 minutes, but I don't think we're gonna see a huge gap in the finishing times here. So we'll still be probably pretty close. Yeah, I do get a break from comms for the Worlds Collide run.
Yeah, I've
like talented hands of. Let me double check here.
I'm not gonna lie, when we get the next leg of the relay started, I'm probably gonna take my headset off for a little bit and just try desperately to wake up. Go have my middle of the night snack, etc.
Oh, so I shouldn't do a donation like every 10 minutes during
You can, I'm gonna make you read it off.
Just save them all. Yeah, we'll leave you in some fresher. Although Tursman's been in the chat like the whole, so I don't know exactly if we're coming in any fresher here than me.
Guest speaker, one free fits. Yep.
Do we have enough time to buy energy drinks? If you go now and you're not driving, too far away, I would say yeah, for sure. Phone is on the elevators already. They're really blazing through. SVJ is on what I call Donkey Kong. Room number 1.
Oh wait, hang on. I have something for Donkey Kong. Where is it? Yeah. Donkey Kong.
Okay.
All right. It is 2 a.m, chat. This is as good as I'm gonna get.
It's pretty good. That was within a minute.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, SVJ is getting close to the backhoe. They're getting close to their Magus fight. Philo is heading in to start their Magus run. I have thought about one of these years just, having a 4th team and it's just me running the whole thing.
Just one of these years, Fitz, you and I will just sit there and be like, okay, we're gonna have a spoiler run. you and I will both run the same seed that the actual teams are running, and we're just running and commenting it on
we get to know.
air. Boy.
Saw some sunshade. So phone is at the news shop. All the Gomos, they got a wonder shop. I see Ayla's fist has rolled speed +1 on it too. That's pretty nice. Because her fists count as weapons, so they get effects too.
That's cool.
Each of the Gomos has like a high tier shop. The Black Omen is this one in the middle. Elixirs are nice. Probably not too much that phone needs to buy here. Amulets are more important. Status protection matters more. Lavos. Against Zeal, we're more looking for shadow and water elements. I think phone's got the power that they're not going to take any of the big hits, but pretty quick shop there. Not a ton of stuff to buy necessarily, but they'll be on their way. SVJ is in the what is this room? Oh yeah, this is one of these, or two of them we have to fight. One of them we can run from. Phone's been really kind of running from everything that's possible to run from it. And Black Omen, there's a lot of experience to be had. They're at 28, and they haven't even fought any of the bosses here yet. So they'll probably be 31, 32 by the end. Those shields, very sneaky, very hard. They don't reliably behave in a way that I can predict, other than running wherever you decide to go. See if we sneak through here. We do. Wow. Incredible eye behavior there. Those eye orbs will like blink, be open, be shut, or like blink, open or shut. If they're open, they trigger a fight. It is possible to run through while they're blinking. I've only done it on accident. See, these are not cooperating.
Yeah.
Luckily, this is a runnable fight. It just takes up time, which is kind of why usually if they're not set up good right away, I just will trigger this fight.
Right.
Fighting that fight can be really scary because those eye orbs do an AoE attack every turn for like 250 damage.
Oof.
And yeah, they disable the attacks and they're kind of hard to hit. So I've definitely gotten into trouble getting a little bit too greedy. Like, well, I could use some more tech points. Yeah, SVJ is about to head into their Magus fight, and then on the other side of that, they're running through Ocean Palace. Sometimes these cranes count as enemies, and so we're seeing a little charming because they drop stuff in this fight. Nothing great though. I feel like I had a race once where they dropped. I've seen them drop speed tabs. I've seen them drop prism specs. There's some wild stuff from those.
Jeez.
Ooh, a Tabin suit. It's a pretty good find on phone screen. It'll let them, get rid of that dash ring, and probably we're gonna put in some shades. Move around our dash ring. I don't think phone has speed problems anymore.
No.
I think Marl is their slowest party member, and they have 13.
All right.
So they're gonna run into.
No,
Number one.
Go ahead.
Let's see who it is. Giga Gaia. How many hit points do the hands have? We're gonna find out. This fight can be scary because the hands don't go down right away. They do. AoE attacks. Meanwhile, SPJ heading into the Magus fight here. With Magus in the lead. A little awkward, to be honest.
A little, little weird, but it's okay. We don't judge too hard.
Yeah, the Giga Gaia at this spot, I saw a flare go off, so the hands have over 2,000 hit points. I think they'll go down after this.
Yeah, there we go.
And now they just have to hurt the face a bunch. This is around a 10,000 hit point spot. And so I think they've got like 2 more flares to go. Haste, very good. It doesn't immediately like first turn if someone has haste. It doesn't work. It doesn't have like an effect, but then it's really every turn after that. It takes half as long to get their turns. Haste is great. We usually want to find it on like equipment if possible. That's like the dream. Then we don't have to spend a turn casting it with Marl, but it's very good. Oh yeah, this is another fun thing about with like boss Rando is it shuffles the Magus sprite.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It will also use like their ultimate attack, so he'll like Chrono will do Luminaire when he charges up phase 2. Taco Magic asking about weight. I also accidentally trick in Jets of Time sometimes just from like Chrono from Final Fantasy 6 habit. Just being like, well, I should be weight tricking during this boss. But it's not really a thing. We're getting a couple fire cycles here off of Chrono, which is good. It doesn't look like Ayla's learned triple kick yet. That might be her last tech. Phone will be pretty quickly hitting their second boss here. Philo is in the gauntlet room. All these encounters are runnable, but this is where that speed starts to come in again. Because one thing that we can do is go into an item or tech menu and hold run in there, and that will charge up the invisible meter. And then when we leave the menu, we can like run right away, and so we can use that if we have fast enough speed to get into the menu run before we see any attack animations. Because in Chrono Trigger, pretty much all the attack animations are a lot longer than other SNES, like JRPGs.
Right.
So minimizing seeing those as much as possible is pretty big. That was a fast Magus fight for SVJ. I think they're in the mix here to win for sure with how fast that went.
Yeah, that
I saw a lot of
really
fire,
well.
which let them blast through that first phase, and then they certainly had the power to get through phase 2 without taking the big attack. Very nice pit dodge by Filoso Ray over there. We've got Donkey Kong 2. This one is a lot trickier with some of these skips. they're gonna use their character sprite, the trailing characters, to bump this little bird off of the track.
Okay, that's funny.
I don't know why that works, but it does. And then a lot of those other ones we have to hold up to like cut the corners. Most skips in Chrono Trigger either have to do with like just moving to a particular spot. That's like half of them. And then a lot of them are like using a diagonal wall to move without inputting like left or up, because the encounters trigger like on a particular directional movement. I won't say I understand the mechanics of all of them, but because there's a healthy amount of vanilla Chrono Trigger speed thing, there is like a practice ROM out there,
Right.
for the 100% that makes the encounter triggers like visible. So that's one way that one can like learn the encounter skips. I just watched. We have a community member, Moon Blizzard, that recorded a handy "Here's every encounter skip in the game" YouTube series.
Well, Phones ran into another lava spawn, so...
This one is Elder Spawn, I believe.
Elder Spawn, yes, you're right, sorry.
No, this is a mutant spot. I was gonna say, is this randomized? But one, I know it is because I flagged, and two, Elder Spawn's the next spot, so it's more, I guess, the French vanilla. Elder Spawn, we don't have to be. And I think Phone is a big advocate and uses this a lot. If we have single target attacks, so we don't have to like. They finally got triple kick, so they're just gonna blaze kick. But unlike the baby spawn, Elder Spawn only counters with like a single target attack. And so if whatever reason we just had a bunch of AoE, we could still kind of just send our most powerful stuff, knowing that they can only really down one party member. Now, if our timing is bad, where they counter and then do their regular turn, we might be in big trouble. Phone having no big trouble because we've got good level, we got good gear. They got those at least one pair of sunshades on Luca. And it looks like we just unlocked Ice 2 in our Antipodes. So they really have the full power set available to them. And I don't think Seal's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
We got a Flea Plus guarding
Ooh.
on the throne to Ocean Palace. Flea Plus is actually worse than Flea. They have worse stats, and they are vulnerable to every status in the game. So we don't need to use this because SVJ's got the power, but like we could use Hypno Wave to put him to sleep. That's really the only one they had access to. They'll still do the stare, so they can be scary, but I think the community joke is always to save plus with like a question mark at the end. It's like Flea Plus? Because arguably it's Flea minus. The three, yeah. Super Slash and Flea Plus are just worse versions. Because Ozzy's Fort is kind of a joke dungeon in general. It's fun, and I appreciate it, and love it that it exists. Atropos at the Elder Spawn, she kind of just goes through a script of punch, heal, do other robo moves, heal.
Right.
I think they're gone already, though, before I even could talk
Yeah.
about it. And then they self-destruct again.
I already walked all over.
SVJ is getting into the back half of... I'll be curious if they do any grinding. Another advantage of well, I don't know about advantage, feature of Ocean Palace is it has a really quick, repeatable grind spot on the stairs that SVJ will be getting to shortly. So if we did come under here under level, you just come down these stairs, you fight these guys. SVJ is in like 29. They might take one or two.
Just to be
Lavos
safe.
can be done in the high 20s, depending on our party members. Magus doesn't have a lot of hit points either. It can be scary. I think for newer runners, we'd advise like, probably level 32 is a good one, but it's very gear dependent too. Like, everyone having sunshades makes up for probably a couple levels of damage just by itself. There are also like the earring accessories boost hit points, so that's another way that we could not have to take as many levels. But yeah, Phone blew through those bosses pretty quickly, and we're into Zeal 1 and Zeal 2, and when they get the last hit on Zeal 2, that'll be the GGs for them.
Getting there.
So Zeal 1, 5k hit points. They do Halation, which knocks us down to 1 twice. Pretty scary, but they're through. Now there is a little glitch here that we can get into the menu in the screen transition.
Yep.
They got it.
Nice.
So that lets us, normally this is even scarier because we have to spend the first turn of Mammon Machine, like getting our health back up. But they were able to get through. So they got Mammon Machine, and then after this, Zeal 2. And then they will be done. Mammon Machine kind of does nothing for a little bit. If we do magic damage to them, they like store attack power. If we do physical damage, their defense goes up. 2 hits is usually what we can get in without wiping. 3 is gonna be spicy. Unless
Very.
we can just fully get him, which might be what Phone is going for. Because they only have 10,000 hit points, so I don't know. Let's see how much this Anapod does. This is our second one. No, they're gonna.
All right, I guess go big or go home. Wow. Okay. Had me spooked.
Because they store energy and then they do like an AoE.
Yeah.
And with having attacked them 5 times with magic, I think it would have done like 900 damage to everyone. But again, Phone has great knowledge of pretty much everything in here and counted damage well, which is something I still struggle with. Especially when trying to go really fast. So they're into Zeal 2 here. We do not want to hit the hand. They have 20k hit points. They will do that halation attack after we've done 10k of damage. And so generally the plan is to do at least 10k real fast, wait, toss a Mega Elixir or an AoE heal, and then try to burst through. The other 10k, their attacks are very scripted, and we're really looking to avoid a couple of moves. One of them is a big AoE shadow attack, and the other one is an AoE water attack called Hexagon Mist. They're pretty nasty. I don't think we're going to see them at all.
Yeah.
Phone's doing a lot of damage.
Seems like Phone's got this down to a mathematical equation.
And they've hasted Ayla, and so what they're really doing here is using her in every double tech attack, and they're just alternating between the other two. That's incredibly optimal use of this party. I think after this cube toss, I did mention I'm very bad at damage count.
I'm too tired to even risk doing math near Twitch, so.
The really only risk that would be like an annoyance. Sometimes the turn order, like one of the hands will have their attack queued up, so it goes like right away after that halation, and then they'll drop someone.
Right.
Another annoying thing is, the middle character is always going to get MP busted right after this. So that can slow down our offense a little bit. Yeah, SVJ has finished their grind. They got elevator fights, a couple of switches to hit, and then the Lavos fight, so.
And Colossal Ray is in the middle of their Magnus Chrono fight.
So they're probably like 10 minutes behind SVJ right now. With a different party and different elements. They're gonna see. This is an example. I think they're getting pretty unlucky, in that they don't have a lot of shadow damage, and then they're just not getting. Like, they're looking for fire. They're looking for maybe water. I looked away and like Zeal's gonna be dead.
Right.
Yep. Get the GGs out there for phone. Official time I need to put in the spreadsheet for Team A of 140.06. Definitely on the faster side of a Jet Seed, but not quite as.
I mean,
I don't know. On the spectrum of Jet to Cursed, this one's not full. This one wasn't fully Jet. I want to say it was like 75% of the way there. And also, Phone is very, very, very good at this game. And they even showed off some of the weird stuff that we wouldn't normally see. The sewer trip.
I will say, technically speaking, I think that's an hour ahead of the estimate.
Yeah, I have notified the next leg of runners to be ready.
Might have to go. Might have to go wake Rubes up earlier than I thought I was gonna have to. They sent me a message at the start saying, "Hey, help wake me up if things."
Fire up the coffee.
Right.
Maybe fire. Maybe we will. Maybe. That's true. Karen and Possum are on site, I believe.
I think, is Rubes on site at the hotel, or?
Maybe, probably.
I don't remember.
I don't think I've met everyone that's on site yet. But, the action here. Yeah,
Oh, I need to
SVJ
change
very
my
close
audio.
to there. They got a double boss and. And they got their Lapos fight. Tail and Scouters. I wonder if they're good.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. I didn't see that. Wait. Okay. How's that, chat? Sorry. Good morning. Sorry, I have so many. I've got
to wake up.
Yeah.
Starting the coffee up.
I've got so many different audio cables at the moment. I'm not trying to listen back, so sometimes I blink and things aren't set where I think they are. That's my bad, chat. I'm sorry. Please send your complaints to Jay. It's his fault.
SVJ doing their final equip up here.
Mecklin's got my back.
Yeah. Poor Philo is really getting caught in why I don't like the Magus fight.
RNG just not being fun, huh?
Correct. Yes, SVJ did do Magus Castle. We have double Hecarim. Yeah, we don't know where the Ruby Knife is. Either could be on Woe.
Yeah, I don't remember us finding Ruby.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we didn't see. We didn't see Woe, and we didn't see Toma's Pop, but we need, or Giant's Claw, but we need Toma's Pop for that. Phone did Trial. I think we saw everything else except for the Moonstone. Whoa. And Giant's Claw. So yeah, that I do feel like the Tyranno Lair Go mode is probably pretty deep in the last.
Yeah.
Because there's also we saw the Jerky, but the ribbon is still out there. The Robo ribbon. So we might have. There was probably like a trail of fetch quest lead to the Ruby Knife.
Man, Chrono is giving Philosopher the work over.
Yeah, this is just that. They're just not going into like
Finally getting water.
And they're getting, like, they have water, but Frog is down.
Frog's down, so it doesn't even matter.
There we go. That's what we're looking for. Because SVJ got all fire, and they just got the Fire Whirl twice.
Yeah.
And then I think they were in phase 2. Okay. Feels at phase 2 now. Which they really could probably just, as long as they keep Luca flaring, I think they'll get through. Which is what they're going for. Meanwhile, SVJ heading into the first of 3 Lavos fights.
Here we go.
Lavos 1. We've got 10k of HP to get through. They pretty much do the same stuff. Oh no.
Philosopher got smacked.
That's tough. They just had bad luck. That's just bad luck going on.
Whole lot of RNG.
Every time I looked over, they were not getting fire as the weakness. This is why we save. Very wise, very good, very smart. Yeah, I'm really showing off why the Magus Castle Go mode is a little bit less popular amongst racers. Just because of that big variance that is really not in our control. It's still one of those that you kind of take the first Go mode that you get unless you feel pretty confident that we could find one more in a quick check, but it definitely feels bad when, I guess, well, when Chrono is misbehaving the way that they were.
Good morning, Current.
I would start to prepare.
Well, chat, it continues to be a thunderstorm outside. It is not listening to me when I'm telling it to stop. It's entirely possible my basement is going to float away whenever I blink. Yeah, the first leg of the night ended about 30 minutes ahead of schedule. Phone absolutely crushed the estimate with this one by ending about an hour ahead of schedule on their end. So I cannot wait for the Final Fantasy 1 leg to end up with everyone just being destroyed by RNG and losing every bit of time possible. But
yeah, I think maybe we're gonna need to just make those FF1 R flags harder. I give you all an hour at the end. That's like FF1 is fast.
yeah, these are some Jetty flag sets for the FF1 crew.
After Magus, Philosopher Ray still need.
They've got all of Ocean Palace to do, and then the Lavos fights. Mechlin, shut up. I love you. Shut up.
Yeah, so Philosopher Ray is still probably 20, 30 minutes out from done, and I organized the relay so that all the legs start at the same time, just so that we don't get one, to try to keep it on a block of time, and two, it helps with just like coordinating and logistics, mostly to help my restreamers not have to try to crop people live.
I mean, I've done it. It's doable. I don't want to do it at 3 in the morning, but you know, if that's how we end up having to do it one of these days, then hit me with it, I guess.
Just make World Collide flags harder too. They should just get all the characters. No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I would be perfectly happy if we end up ahead of schedule at the end of the whole relay, because I can always just, you know, sit here and play something on stream with chat while we wait for live to wake up and everything. I don't think, for the record, that I'm going to be the madman that wakes up the Golden Sun runners if we end up 2 hours ahead of schedule and be like, hey! I'm not going to do that. Yes, Mechlin, I very well might just go back to the Skyrim seed and we see how long it takes me to get that last missing fish.
Maybe potentially we do 2 FFR legs at the end.
We could.
Have you all back. Well, Taco Mage is a master of like chaos and like weird flags, so they run like our livings in Worlds Collide, which is like it sounds basically like everyone that enters each week gets to like change a flag, and then they reset it every so often. And so those living seeds get pretty out of control pretty quickly.
SVJ's on, that's Lavos 2 or 3?
3, yeah.
3.
I kind of looked away a little bit and missed 2 phases of lava.
It's Lavos.
So there is we do have one of those menu opportunities between Lavos 2 and 3 as well, which SVJ did get, and they will. There's both a visual cue and a sound cue, which I don't know how the sound cue works. I always just wait for the screen to go full black by staring at the corner, and then hold menu. It's not even a mash thing, but I know every time I look away, I feel like a lot of progress is made. So I need to, I guess, focus on all 3 screens. at the same time.
Oh,
But yeah, Lavos 3, the true bit of Lavos is the right side, the right bit, the brain bit, if you will. Um, the middle one's just a fake. The left one absorbs all elements, so we can only hit them with physical attacks. And then the brain bit on the right drops his defense once one of the other pieces is down. So we really have a couple of options. The middle bit does a whole bunch of nasty stuff, and so the safer strat usually is, which we see from SVJ, you take down the middle one, because these other two, the worst they can do is down a single party member. They will counter with like a hard attack while doing it. So it's safer to go this way generally. It also can depend on our party composition. Like SVJ has a lot of magic. Ayla could, with like 2 triple kicks, take down the other bit, but I think they generally, with what they have, are picking the fastest. Does so much damage. And we've got 20k to get through on this right side, which is going to be 5 blaze kicks plus that dark bomb that they did. We will get a couple of turns that we can still attack the brain bit before defense goes back up, so SVJ taking full advantage of that. Yes, I see Philo Ray finally getting a cooperating Magus fight, able to get through, no problem this time around.
We love to see it.
Back to the Lavos fight.
Excuse me.
The defense is still up. SPJ working to get that middle bit back down. The reason the middle one is so dangerous is they're predictable by what time. They'll do this time warp thing, and then the background will change. And then based on that background, we know what attacks they're gonna do. And they have one called Grand Stone, which is a big physical AoE attack that generally will drop like a Luca and a Magus. And then they have the other one, which I'm blanking on the name. It's a big AoE magic attack.
Oh, magic attack.
Also hurts everyone. So that's where I was saying Zeal is very predictable because they always do the same thing. Those time warps and what eras the middle bit goes into is completely random. So the saying is sometimes Lavos decides to be Lavos and they only shift it to the most dangerous attacks. But that's the GG's. Goo goo. For SVJ, official time of 1:57:20.
Very nice, very nice.
Add it to the sheet. TC 1:57. Go back to the view here. Oh yeah, they're Fleet Plus. Yeah, so they're like 20-25 minutes out, which is still a solid time. You know, it's always hard with these races to perfectly balance multiple teams of racers across multiple randomizers, and I have done my best. So we might see some like swings, like, because selecting equal skill runners in 4 different randomizers that are also willing
Yeah,
to stay up really late.
the time zone kind of sort of gave us a bit of a cripple, and then I think we had to tag me in for the FF1, which just threw everything off.
But I've generally found that like usually it stays pretty interesting. Jets of Time is a longer run overall, so I think we were gonna see a little bit of a bigger difference. But I think with the 2 legs left, this one's still way up in the air. Which team will emerge triumphant, the champions of summer 2025 overnight? I might have to maybe I'll make like a trophy one of these days, a little digital trophy that we can hand out. It's mostly for fun and of course for the cause.
Yes. What cause, might you ask? If I was awake enough, I'd be able to tell you a proper lead-in to that is that we are doing this marathon in support of the Liam Foundation over in Rockford, Illinois. Unlike Phone and their abuse of poor Fritz, the Liam Foundation's mission is to encourage, assist, heal, and empower their LGBTQIA plus community through respect, advocacy, and passionate hearts to promote thriving in society. Excuse me. They've had a lot of budget shortfalls lately due to grant opportunities going missing. And so all this, what are we at now? So let's see here, go scroll on up here. 7,300 plus bucks we have raised in a day and a half is going to make a massive change towards that. If you happen to feel like you are willing and able to assist with that, there's the donation link. If you do make a donation, we do have several incentives coming up for the morning runs. Ignore the ominous thunder in the background. I swear that's not me. I'm not doing that on purpose. We have the Golden Sun randomizer coming up in the morning, a bingo randomizer, and gotcha fits. There's a empty bid war for naming any of the 8 characters. There is there's 3 different squares you can force in this bingo randomizer of them. They're all at $0. So those are options. The Soul Blazer randomizer has a bid war that's empty for character names. They've got 25 out of 80 for actually racing the snails in the Mountain of Souls. See, I actually know Soul Blazer somewhat, so there you go. After that, there's the Mystic Quest and Worlds Collide Archipelago co-op run, which has 25 bucks on fighting all the dragons, 0 out of 80 for suplexing the train, which is just unbelievable to me. Then 0 out of 80 for saving Norma, and there's a bid war for naming Ben that is currently sitting at $10 for Sid Sucks. Seems appropriate. And then, of course, right after that is another. Wait, suplex was met? Where it doesn't say that. You know what? Hang on. Let me actually. Hold up. I don't think I've refreshed my marathon page. Mecklin, you got to keep me more honest than this. Where is that? Yeah, see, it is met. Okay. What about the numbers on these others? They're fine. I hadn't refreshed my page. I'm sorry, folks. Okay, I don't think I'm wrong on the others. So yeah, there is the next Jets of Time run has met the bid for Girl Power Starting Party. We have $30 towards forcing them to save Fritz. There's $0 towards don't. So if you want to see Phone have to rescue Fritz again, you know, you're $30 ahead. Got to keep it up there. And I don't really see the only other thing going on is the last Worlds Collide race, which has met Saracen singing the opera, which is going to be fantastic. There is the bid war of save or don't save Sid, which is $25 to save and $35 for don't. And then 0 out of 80 for making the runners, I presume, perform the opera. Or making who performed the opera. I'm not, I don't know. People will perform the opera. And my window browser.
We do need to meet that in order for Saracen to
Oh,
sing
we
it.
do? Okay, well.
I think so, because we need to go there.
Get cracking, chat.
Do it a cappella.
And then there's TaskBot running Final Fantasy has a empty bid war for naming the character names, should you be so inclined. Otherwise, that brings us back to Philosopher's Run, which they are in Ocean Palace, or it is Ocean Palace, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're in Ocean Palace. They're on the elevator, which means they've got a couple switches to hit. That double Hecarim to get through, and then they will be on their Lavos fight as well. Yeah, I think they're looking at the levels here. Yeah, they're going for it a little bit in terms of didn't take a grind, which I like to see, especially from a relatively newer runner.
We like a little bit of the risk. Oops, I never put BDB.
And they do have that Wonder Mute, so if they get some good rolls with that can make up for anything.
I need to change my audio, don't I, chat? See? I'm tired. You guys aren't helping me. There we go. And look, it's not even blasting. It's not even deafening people.
Regular levels. Making our way through these elevator fights. Gold earring, that's a nice drop. I believe that's plus 50% hit points.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I was really feeling a lack of a second screen when I was doing donation tracking yesterday. Oh no. I had so many windows open on one screen.
I'm gonna laugh over here. I've got 4 screens and I kind of still want more some days. Only really during marathon does it kind of sort of start to hit that, hey, I want another set of windows. But
All right, we got our switches here. One more to go. These scouters, it's pretty easy to slide in. Getting out is just a little bit more. There's just particular inputs we need to hit to like avoid an invisible wall. It's definitely one of the skips that took me a while to like I would see it done and then I would be like, but wait, when I try to do that it doesn't work.
Game's
But then
broken.
eventually
Out of 3 runners,
one day
I
in like
am
a
the
race
last one to
I was
finish,
like,
and I'm not even
it just
done.
kind of clicked where I was like, oh, I know what I've been doing.
First place
And I
finish
still have
was a
trouble explaining it
140.06.
to
Right.
someone else, but it's a little bit of the like, I think it's like not holding diagonal to get out. It's more of a like directly right and then go down and around. But it's one of those that's much more kind of feel based.
That's fine.
Level 31, that's pretty. We're gonna end up pretty fine
Second
for a lot.
place finished with a 157, and I'm gonna be.
We've got a good party comp.
I mean, if everything goes well, I might be able to get this done at 216, but.
Yeah. Agreed, phone. It's one that's very weird. And then once it clicks, it's like, oh, this is easy. But like, the journey from knowing like practically how to do it and executing it can be a little bit.
Yeah, there's like what is it called? The fake flippers and Link to the Past. Some of the setups for that took me a while to figure out how exactly I was supposed to do that, and once I got it, it was like, oh, why was I ever struggling with this? This was the easiest thing on the planet. I can do it blindfolded if I have to. So I get it. Chat, I'm yawning again. I'm not going to be able to play my run just because I'm going to be spending all that time yawning. I won't be able to see the screen.
Much earlier.
The dew of the mountains.
I'm waiting until we get the next run started, and then I'm going to have my
The sun is to go collect the dew.
I've got one more Baja Blast in the fridge, and I've got 6-inch sub I'm going to eat to get me through the last of this shift and however long I'm streaming tomorrow. But we got to get into the next run beforehand so that I can take my headphones off and just not think.
All right, we got through the Hecarim fight.
Very good.
So we'll be topping off and yeah, I'm glad we're topping off. I was a little worried there.
Hang on a moment, are we remembering to heal?
Looking good.
Well, earlier Jay was threatening to spike a thing of melatonin drink for me and Mecklin both, so I not sure I can take something from Jay. He's on the suspect list at the moment. Oh.
Let's see.
All right, Lavos won.
Oh, I didn't grab
Should
the
I look
lives.
away? Is that a vote?
Yeah, you have to look away so it's flawless. Don't mind me kicking
My one revive might
commentator
be
out of the
pretty
Discord room so they can't watch.
pretty painful for me, actually. Okay, that doesn't hit that hard, so that's good at least.
Boy, that would be the wildest take on commentator curse superstition.
Yeah, if I look away, they'll be on Kafka's tower somehow. What? But I had a break.
I think I have
Yeah,
one
Karen, we have
amulet,
some break
so
time
amulet goes on
built in
frog just to make
between
sure
the
you-
legs so that we don't have to like immediately go.
Mecklin is in. You can hear E-Ray talking.
Toss. Ooh, probably should have saved that for a heal.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, then I will go to OCR.
I'm gonna say no thanks, son. I think my belly's too empty for Jolly Rancher right now. Okay, cool, thanks. Just very nice people keeping me going around here.
Well, I haven't touched Fitz's stuff, so I think he's just...
Probably just getting a little quieter.
We're
It's
just tired.
talking longer. I'll talk a little bit. They might have their mic on. We didn't see as much of this. I mentioned status protection is important for Lavos because they do this obstacle move a couple of times, which in Jets inflicts like a randomized, but consistently the same status. They look like we low, which is annoying. It's not as worse as like a stop or like sleep can be pretty bad too, but slow's kind of annoying. It does make our ATB recharge really slow. Status effects and Jets of Time just also reduce our damage by I think like 25%. We're trying to get one more frog flare in before. But unfortunately, obstacle, in addition to doing his status, I wonder how many more hit points we gotta get through. I think we might just send it with this Wonder Immune and hope we get some high rolls. It's not a bad plan. Frog can keep himself pretty healed with Cure 2s. And has like 800 hit points.
Yeah. Beefy little amphibian.
And I think has status protection as well, so. Very nice.
Nice, but not nice enough. That was enough. Oh my goodness.
Wow. The Wonder Immune did not do the thing that we were looking for, but it finished the job.
But it worked,
I didn't know
technically.
it was that close to, they were, wow, less than 1,000 hit points away. But everyone that we walk away from is good enough. And so they'll get to take a nice save here. We're gonna change our equipment up a little bit, maybe. A berserker, that would be true memeing. Just look at what we got here. We buff the berserker and Jets as well. That it gives us like barrier and shield, in addition to like the extra damage from being berserk. Right, here we go. Coming up on Lapos 2. We're gonna need to get rid of those hands. so that we can hurt the face. And then we got 10k of hit points, face, to get through. So we can go fight Lavos 3. Lavos 2, always open a laser beam. And then, what do we call this? Some people call them the laser. Others call them the laser bananas. But essentially the hands shoot out these projectiles that do a lot of damage.
Ow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Valid.
That's a little of the Lavos, can be Lavos sort of thing. It was a little bit of a too, is that if Robo would have gotten their turn to get that heal beam off, nobody goes down.
Right. Sometimes you just get bananaed.
Indeed. And luckily, we get a save after Lavos too, so not too long to get back in the fight.
Yeah.
In fact, we could actually use that gate and get, like, if we were like, oh, I forgot, I'm out of revives, I don't think we're gonna need to do that, but always have that option. Okay. Making sure we get the heal beam off. Which, as long as they don't laser the same person. Actually, if I'm Philo, I'm hoping the hit from my frog squash does more damage, but not cooperating with the plan. I think we need another flare down the arms. And then we're going to see obstacle again. And then we can start attacking the head. Not counting damage well again for me.
Ow.
It's a revive situation. Yeah. 1.
Oh, it's a little spook.
We get the revive. We get the heal off. Sticking in the fight.
There we go.
There we go. See, obstacle. A couple of attacks. It's really like the third turn. It's another dangerous one. Slow is annoying. We can get rid of it with the item heal or frog secure 2 spell. Also heals status. There we go.
There's some Wonder Mune.
Yeah, Shadow Slay is not very dangerous. It can inflict poison, which is again more annoying. Because it'll reduce our damage output. It's really Lavos' next turn that they're going to do a big damage move. But our hit points are pretty high, so I think Philo's in a pretty good spot after some initial meanness from the hands, not wanting to cooperate, getting some good rolls. Yeah, this Shadow Doom Blaze, pretty nasty. And then they're gonna go back to the top of their kind of script again. So we'll see another obstacle. Oh yeah, and their attack is up at first
Yeah,
round.
of course it
So
does.
it's a little bit of a damage race, but I think we're in a good spot here. Top. I like holding the Robo's turn. I don't like Frog missing.
No. Vorpal doing Vorpal things? Wait, probably not.
Yeah, Frog and Robo and Chrono, they don't have the highest hit stats. There we go. Very nice. Got through phase 2. That's another advantage of using double text, is double text always hit. Single text have chances to miss when they're like physical attacks. We've seen Robo miss like a bunch of Uzi punches. It always feels like it's when we need them to land. Got it.
Got
Very
it.
nice.
Very good.
They've got 2 Mega Elixirs, so we've got quite a bit of recovery to throw out this final fight. Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to see any tweaks. Well, we know Obstacle is slow, so I love throwing on that status protection Vigil hat. And boosting Luca's hit points because we want to keep her up. Never really found a great arm Robo. That's kind of why we're seeing Robo mostly in
Right.
because Megaton arm is like middling at best, and unfortunately, Robo is weapon dependent for their best physical tech. Nice fire tech. Time warp. Okay, this is not bad. Spell kind of sucks. The random status, but the ones we don't want to see. Oh, we got. That could be huge. Can heal that. Cure 2. Let's see. Is this one bad? I think this is. Oh yeah, because this one's
Ouch.
dead. And then another one. Yeah, the half HP is not great. Without having a way to cure stop, kind of okay with that one. We sort of need Luca to. Well, we don't have any revives.
Yeah.
Maybe. Ooh, this is a bad time. This is one of the. This is future. I believe this is big magic attack. So we're trying to get our health back up to be able to survive that. Unfortunately, Slurp does not cure status. Yeah, we're trying to take down that middle bit. There we go. Before they do their thing.
Oh.
So Luca will stay.
Ooh. Sorry.
Rob might also stay up. This is a little bit of trouble.
I am intensely awake now after that thunder crack. Uh-oh. Oh, that's them. Not.
Let's get some GGs out there. So right. They made a great attempt.
Yes, very good effort.
They did run right into the estimate.
Yep.
We are ahead overall, but
Well done.
good attempts. Great effort. They were definitely in the mix. And as we mentioned, Lavos is definitely the tougher of our end game go modes. And I think that they were pushing the pace there, skipping the grind that normally they may have done it, but again, I think that aggressiveness is a good learning experience, and I'm sure they'll have some takeaways for next time, but still.
Very good run regardless.
All of our Jets runners. It's also harder to play games at weird times that we're not used to playing games at. And I will also say, yeah, I feel like Philosopher had the worst side of the RNG with that Magus fight that dragged on forever, and then Lavos being a little jerk too. But with that, yeah, we I think are gonna be transitioning. I will be taking a break from commentary, but I will be back for the final leg. So I guess for now, signing off for now, we'll be back later.
Alright, thanks, Fitz. I can get the next group of commentators to slip into marathon waiting for me. And Fitz, for my sake, can you drop the Worlds Collide race room in the notes 3 for me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Chat, I'm gonna pull us off channel or off of voice for a minute. We'll be back as soon as we get things set up.